I get that there's the whole euphemism thing. You do have to hide your anti-Semitism Semitism behind euphemisms. But once those euphemisms are understood to be anti-Semitic, why are they still so prevalent? I have a reputation to uphold of seeing stuff on the internet that makes me question the reality I live in and why it hasn't just decided to delete itself completely. But let's go ahead and look at the fan art before I question reality anymore. Probably a good idea. This one is from Altacia / Urisamedi. I'm saying all of that wrong. But second draft of Nekomatasaurus, not happy with one of the paws. Need hammers. Going to do a practice. Color. Need to add tail hammers. The next one we have is from Lexi, the Mistress. No context given on this one, but it definitely looks like I'm ready to just slice somebody's throat as a ninja. Also, have you guys noticed that there's always a discrepancy between whether or not my avatar's hair is purple or brown? I will let that continue to be a mystery for everyone, and it will maintain. But one thing that definitely is purple is this slime Suris from Mathematical Cabbage. An artsy slime Suris made while tired and not yet able to sleep. I wanted to try and capture the ooze of slime Suris, as well as the lighting effects often seen upon such creatures' surfaces. And honestly, it looks wonderful. As always, everyone, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future episode, the best way to do so is to drop it in the fan art section of the channel. With that said, we need to talk about Lara Logan. Apparently, she's a host on Fox Nation where she has her moniker, her handle is that Lara Logan has no agenda. No agenda at all, apparently. One, everybody has some kind of agenda. I'm sorry. Human beings do things and want end results from those things. But, you know, past that, she also appeared on the QAnon promoting show, And We Know. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that clip. That those little bits of information. Make a judgment for ourselves on the type of individual we're dealing with, the type of ideas being presented into the marketplace, as it were.
So now you've gone from being a farmer who may not be able to farm efficiently, who may not be able to feed as many people, but guess what? He could grow food year after year after year. Because who created seeds that are renewable? Like truly, like who created life that is truly renewable? What is the only thing on earth that is actually renewable? It's life.
Yeah.
And they can, go back to the Big Bang Theory and Darwin. I mean, when I found out, does anyone know who employed Darwin, where Darwinism comes from?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look it up. The Rothschilds.
Yeah.
The Rothschilds. So, theory of evolution bad, despite all the scientific evidence that has ever existed for it, because Jews. Because Jews. Usually when somebody tries to go the globalists, the Rothschilds, anything like that, it's Jewish question. Oh, good. Evolution bad because Jewish conspiracy. Yep. It's Jewish question time, everybody. It's time to do our favorite things like deny the Holocaust and claim that one race/religion of people is controlling everything secretly from the shadows as part of a cabal and is trying to, I don't know, abort Christian babies or some shit. Who are the Rothschilds? A group of Jewish bankers that, much like, much like George Soros, are basically blamed for everything. Everything from rightoid conspiracy theorists, generally speaking. And even though they had a huge hand in a lot of developments in the world, generally speaking, the question always comes down to, but they were Jewish. But they were Jewish. Yeah, the Rothschilds were a clan of obscenely wealthy people who just happened to be Jewish. Yep. All right.
It goes right back to 10 Downing Street.
All the way.
And the same people who employed Darwin. And that's when Darwin, wrote his theory of evolution and so on and so on. And I'm not saying that none of that is true.
Right.
I'm just saying Darwin was hired by someone. to come up with a theory,
Correct.
right?
He wasn't hired by someone to come up with a theory. He's hired to research. You don't hire scientists to come up with things. You pay them to research things. And then theories may come up from that, or more accurately, hypotheses may come up from that. Theories, however, when we are talking about science, sorry, no. A theory is a grouping of observable theory, not Siri. Jesus Christ. A theory is a grouping of facts, of evidence, of arguments, of observations, of experiments. All of them come together to make a theory. The word you're looking for is hypothesis. But it's amazing that you managed to even get that far when the snot-nosed, drooling face began the argument with the Jews. Every single time somebody begins something with a Jewish question, you can generally dismiss it from that point onward. But if you want to go further, you can always point out that they don't even know what the fuck the words they're saying means. Also, Darwin did most of his work on evolution under the employ of the British Crown, so you aren't even historically correct. Oh, but no, we just need to, you know, say, yes, no, theory of evolution bad because Jews. When you can't have a good reason to deny actual functional science, you can always just blame Jewish people, apparently. You know, according to bitch tits.
Based on evidence, okay, fine. But, you know, even the people, the scientists, all of the people that can take you back to the Big Bang, what is the one question they can never, ever, ever answer? They can never tell you whatever that was, whether it's the molecules or the energy or, you know, all that stuff.
We know it wasn't molecules. Molecules weren't a thing yet. Tell me you haven't actually looked into the Big Bang without telling me you haven't looked into the Big Bang. Matter wasn't a thing quite yet at that point. But okay. Is she saying we don't know what the Big Bang was? Well, let's hear what she's saying. Let's take a listen.
All these scientists like that, you know, that evil, horrible person who's the science advisor to Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, who says there's no such thing as freedom. There's no such, you know, there's randomness, but that's not freedom and blah, blah, blah. There's probability and there's this and there's that.
Right.
They can explain it away any way you like. But how did those things come into being?
Yeah.
You know,
who cares? They exist now. So who cares? If you ever get to pick a word for something, you might want to stay away from loaded language. They're going, yeah, right, yeah, yeah. No, this is shit that I have, like, okay, when somebody's listening to me, but they're not actually listening to me, generally speaking, this is the way that they go about it. They'll, right, yeah. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. But, more importantly, I wonder if this person has actually looked at a scientific paper. I wonder if this person has actually done research in a way that would allow you to come to a conclusion other than random religiously affiliated ethnic group of people are bad. Like, I know that apparently she used to be employed by, CBS at one point, and I've seen some people say that, like, she had journalistic integrity at one point. I don't know if these are the ramblings of a person who actually has journalistic integrity. I don't.
And it was a combination of, it's that question of what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? You can't answer that scientifically.
Scientifically, we actually can answer that. If we're talking about chickens specifically, that is one answer. But if we are talking about life, then not egg. Single-celled life divides itself by cutting into its own nucleus and creating copies. As far as I remember, right? That is life. Undiscernibly, consequently, that is life. And there are no eggs in that process at all. But okay. It creates a copy of its DNA first. I mean, yeah, we're in the close enough category. I'm not a biologist. Then again, neither is Lara J. Logan. But we know that life created more life without eggs first? So we answered that question a long fucking time ago. Specifically with chickens, yes, eggs came before chickens because chickens as a species evolved after avians and mammals started using eggs in various forms to birth young. So in both cases, we can answer that question. Science has answered that question. But when you word the question in such a layman way as which came first, the chicken or the egg, science can't answer that. You know what I actually hear? You know what I really hear? I hear that moment where I can't remember his name for the life of me. But dude goes, tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that. And douchebag, who I will not name, who's become very, very low scumsucker, just looks at him and becomes a meme at that point. Anytime. It wasn't Hovind. It wasn't Hovind who did that. It wasn't Banana Man either. I think it was Bill O'Reilly. I think it was Bill O'Reilly, actually. But there's an accompanying article on this as well. It wasn't that long ago that Lara Logan was a correspondent for CBS News, which is a little hard to believe considering the types of conspiracy theories she's been pushing since she left the network. The latest came during an appearance on the right-wing podcast And We Know, during which Logan suggested that the theory of evolution is a result of a wealthy Jewish family paying Charles Darwin to devise an explanation for what gave rise to humanity. Of course, we listened to the actual quote, so we don't need to read it. Logan rambled on for a bit longer, but her point was that evolution is a chicken or an egg debate that you can't answer scientifically. And meanwhile, we're here. Jews are trying to control the world with their money. Media Matters apparently caught that claim Monday. The Rothschilds, who Logan said is responsible for the theory of evolution, are a Jewish family that often show up in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Of course, we always we get back to this bitch. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene famously wrote on Facebook that the Rothschilds funded a space laser that started the California wildfires. Oh my God. Logan and Greene share more in common than anti-Semitic comments. Both the Fox Nation host and the virulent conspiracy lawmaker have pushed Russian propaganda since Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine last month. Greene has blamed Ukraine for the invasion while suggesting the nation's military is rife with Nazis. Greene, however, at least made some sort of superficial effort to insist she's not a Putin supporter. Logan, however, made no such effort. Whether you like Putin or don't like him, Putin is not willing to be a part of whatever global governing structure is coming our way, Logan said last week on a right-wing podcast. Vladimir Putin has been very calculating. He's been very careful. He said for 15 years he would not tolerate NATO expansion. You know, as if the issue at hand is globalism, which is just more Jewish questioning, and not the fact that NATO actively prevents Russia from being able to expand its borders back into what was previously USSR territory. That's the actual reason. That's the actual problem, generally speaking, not being against the NWO. Yeah, the New World Order thing is also constructed as an anti-Semitic thing as well, and they talk about that in the article. But yeah, it is amazing how many of these individuals who find themselves on the right, on Fox News, and then when they go outside of a place where they can be reined in, just somehow awkwardly manage to step into anti-Semitic landmines. I'm not really certain why this keeps happening, but here we are. Here we are. I don't exactly like it. I don't. Because ideally, we could have, you know, a functional right versus left conversation, where the right wants capitalism and the left wants socialism or communism. And we talk about economic issues and political issues that stem from them. But instead, well, the right's not sending their best. They're sending conspiracy theorists who believe Jews control the world. And, you know, this is the reality we found ourselves in. Somehow we're here. We could argue about the merits of various economic systems, but instead we are here trying to figure out whether or not a random wealthy family is responsible for the theory of evolution, despite all of the evidence for it. Lady Howell, thank you for resubscribing. It's Putin's nationalistic Christian government as the good guy against the evil Jewish New World Order. Yep. At least that's the thing that Lauren Witzke said as well, right? I don't understand how it keeps on coming to this. Why is... I get that there's the whole euphemism thing. You do have to hide your anti-Semitism Semitism behind euphemisms. But once those euphemisms are understood to be anti-Semitic, why are they still so prevalent? Why is that the case? I don't know. Maybe let me know in the comment section below why that is. But that's another conversation entirely. Why we find ourselves in a reality where somebody who probably doesn't want to be anti-Semitic ends up, not this person specifically, but other people who repeat the New World Order and globalist stuff. Whenever people repeat those all the time, once it's been, kind of publicly noted that those things are anti-Semitic dog whistles, why do they still get repeated after that point? Lack of self-awareness, that could be one reason to be Kylo. That could be one. But I guess we'll have to find out. I guess there will probably be some interesting conversations in the comment section about this on YouTube, about what leads to that. When you realize you're the baddie, what leads you to keep doing it? Anyways, if you want to support my channel and what I do, there's plenty of ways to do so in the description below. Patreon, as well as affiliate links. If you enjoyed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow button over on Twitch. And hell, I wouldn't mind to subscribe over on Twitch as well. As always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.